it doesn't matter what they know. It matters almost like what they're willing to listen to from their team. And that's where they get in trouble a lot of. And I'll give you an example, from one of our clients. We have, and we work on the enterprise level. So usually $1 billion plus is really where my company focuses in. So we had, a bigger client that was in the mining industry that was purchased by a private equity firm that's a global firm. And what this firm, famous last words, the leadership team said, we're going to let the business choose its ERP system. No problem. Like, they know what's best. We're just coming in. We're going to let them choose, go through the evaluation. You guys help them. Awesome. Can do. So went through the evaluation, right? Did all of the requirements, started to identify systems that might work. They chose one, and they also chose a system integrator to help them with it. There was a tier 2 integrator that was located where they were located and was a system specialist. They were a great option for them because they really wanted someone that was absolutely focused in, like, hyper focused in the system that they wanted, because it was an MES type of ERP system, manufacturing execution system, which can be harder to implement, right? Like, it's very complex manufacturing when it comes to mining. And there's a lot of enterprise asset management. When we have $40 million dump trucks and all of these different things, we need to make sure that they actually work, or that's a huge bottom line. And so when we looked at that, we had it all in line, and then all of a sudden the board of directors was slowly getting messages from bigger system integrators being like, why aren't we involved in this, this type of thing. And they ended up completely reversing on that decision, and they're likely going to go with a whole nother system and a whole nother, like, global work of integrators. Obviously we weren't a great match for them because that wasn't something that we felt like we supported, right? We openly said, you need to be honest about what you're going to do, right? Do what you're going to do as the leaders of the company. It's your choice. It's your call ultimately. But you need to be clear with these people because they're putting in their time and effort. So if you're not going to listen to them, just say that, right? Like, it would make everything much easier if you were just honest about that. So that's an example of when the executive team reverses on the business or the technical team, and that's going to cause a plethora of issues. I guarantee it, right? With turnover in the business, from people to processes that they have no idea what that business does. But they know they have all of these global relationships with private equity partners, and they kind of, need to kiss the hand that feeds them, right? I guess. So definitely a hard lesson for them that they'll just have to learn. There's only so much we can say, or that you can say, as the voice of reason in these conversations, and being like, I don't think that's a good idea. Ultimately, it's going to be their call. If they're not listening to you, they're showing you who they are, right? How dangerous do executives need to be when it comes to technically effective? They don't need to be dangerous at all, right? They need to be able to listen to their team and understand that they need to be the one that supports their team while looking at things like financial spend, right? That's where they're very good at, like, kind of looking through these different contracts and being like, I know you guys want this system, but we also have to buy a whole new HVAC system for our global data centers, right? Or something like that that's going to cost us $200 million. So that obviously the technical team won't see. So they need to be able to go back in and be like, hey, here's what's going on. They don't need to know what an AI agent is, but they need to be savvy enough financially to understand what's a good decision and what's a rush decision, right? It turns out EMT Next was purchased by our management. Cool. How do you feel about that? That definitely is something, it could go either way, right? It's a legit system. So, and I think that isn't a bad thing in many ways, but it certainly needs to be, right, end user focused. That can happen a lot when private equity happens. So what incentives should be put into place to get executives to listen and be honest? So when we're building a business case, and we do this all the time, right, with director level, VP level, to bring to their executive team, even the C-suite to bring to the board, right? And so I don't know that they're gonna essentially always be honest, because people aren't always honest, right? There's many reasons for that, which I'm not a psychologist, and I can't tell you. I can give you a lot of experience as to why, especially in these situations. But I think for the business case, it has to be all about like economic awareness. How is this going to make you more money, right? It's going to make you more efficient, right? It's going to make you faster. Are you going to implement it in more of like a per business unit, agile, don't freak out saying that word, mini waterfall fashion, where you're going to do it in one area of the business and then you're going to let that implementation pay for the next area of the business? Are you going to be saving money in on-premise license fees and things like that? What is it going to be? And that's the language that they speak.